Hi there, I'm Mark Pollux, and I'm the head of AI at LaunchDarkly. Over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to walk you end to end through Agent Control, which is our control plane for AI agents in production. The big thing that I want you to take away from all of this is that managing your agents through LaunchDarkly's Agent Control lets you do a few things that you literally can't do with any other tool. You can roll out new agents that automatically roll back if something like accuracy starts to drift. You can block bad responses immediately and recover from them automatically without redeploying any code. You can connect traces back into optimization loops that recommend better prompts, better tools, and better fit models. And then finally, you can centralize all of that collaborative work across your organization when it comes to defining agent harnesses in a single, auditable, developer-focused environment. So here's one of our demo environments, Toggle Bank. Toggle Bank is a multi-agent customer support system. It's got a triage router. It's got 3 specialists that read from a banking knowledge base and can do things like look up an account or schedule a meeting. And then it's got a summarizer agent at the end that serves up the response to the customer in the voice of the brand. Every one of these agents is governed by an agent control in LaunchDarkly alongside these 2 online eval judges. So let's look at one of these agents. This is the brand agent config, the agent that's writing up the final response to the customer. Inside it, I have a few variations, and each variation is a self-contained instance of what this agent is, its harness. It's got the model, the inference parameters, the system prompt, which of course you can compose in a variety of different ways. It's got the tools that we give it, and it's even got one-click online evals with automatic traffic sampling. Instead of large, messy system prompts, you can supplement those prompts with reusable, centrally managed, and independently version-controlled prompt snippets. You can see that we treat tools and skills the same way, as composable primitives that you can click to add with their own independent version control, all living in a shared R-backed project-based library. Now, the simplest live change you can make in Agent Control is a model swap, so let's start there. The brand agent, the brand voice agent, runs Sonnet 4.5 today. Let's quickly switch it to Haiku 4.5 for this test. And what I'm going to do is simply change the variation that I'm serving to my internal dev account here and get a sense of how it actually performs. So let's ask the chatbot something. While this is going on, here's what's happening behind the scenes. The SDK in the application has pulled a series of flags from Agent Control, one for each agent of this graph. And it's actually pulled every variation of those flags upon initialization so it can dynamically serve different variations to different contexts, like this internal dev account, for example, with 0 added latency. The triage agent classified this question as a policy question. It then handed it to the policy specialist who looked up the account, then retrieved the right docs from the knowledge base and drafted up an answer. And then the brand agent, now Haiku, rewrote that draft in Toggle Bank's voice. You can see the answer. You can also see all of the associated metrics, including from the judges. And in traditional pre-prod, you need to recut the entire application to make a change like this. But here, you can just directly operate on the surface of the agent itself. So before I take this candidate variation any further than an internal user in staging, I want to know how it actually does at scale. So let's run some offline evals in LaunchDarkly. Here's a side-by-side split with these 2 models side by side running against the golden data set to give you a sense of how changing between Haiku and Sonnet actually looks at some kind of level of scale. And you can see how these 2 models performed and then make a decision from there. But there's a harder problem, which is what happens when a change you make looks fine in pre-prod, but does the wrong thing in production? And that's a very, very real problem in the world of agents. So, for example, banks need their support agent to refuse to answer off-topic questions. And I have one variation here that I've tested and it's ready to ship. It's gone through offline evals, but it's a super, super lean prompt model tool combo, minimum tokens per call, lowest cost, and maybe there's some issues with its topic scoping. And I'm going to be honest, this is absolutely the kind of mistake that a business might ship on accident when they're optimizing for cost or speed. So let me trick this chatbot by asking it a LeetCode question. This is kind of a famous problem in agent management, and it keeps happening to big businesses over and over again. So there's the failure. The brand voice agent took that cost-cutting variation and it answered that LeetCode question because nothing about the model, nothing about the prompt was explicit in refusing a question like that. And Toggle Bank just gave away free coding advice. So let's say you're about to release a new version of an agent, but you're concerned that it might hallucinate or answer off-topic questions like this. A very reasonable concern. So use Agent Control to set up a guarded rollout. You can stage a release, let's say in this case from Sonnet to Haiku, through a progressive rollout against a given customer segment. Specify the metrics that you want to watch out for, and you can see if accuracy drops or relevancy starts to regress or cost starts to spike, and then you can automatically roll back that release. And you can see that I did exactly this test here before, and it actually auto-rolled back in just a few minutes. It seems like Haiku might not actually be up to this task. And the real question is how I can actually protect my customers from even seeing an issue like this. So now I'm going to turn on my guardrail here, and you're going to watch a recovery loop actually instituted entirely within the SDK. I'm going to ask this bot the same LeetCode question. So the online evals judge scored the model's draft response as a policy violation. And because that judge is configured as a blocking guardrail on this variation, the SDK didn't return the response to the customer. And instead, it escalated to a more powerful agent to handle this particular issue with the fallback entirely instrumented through LaunchDarkly's trigger ecosystem. It's worth saying that every call in the system is wrapped in OTel spans and exported back here. So I can look at metrics, I can see cost and performance all in one place. And to debug, I can actually pull up the exact LLM traces and walk through that conversation step by step. But let's go one level deeper. We've been making prompt and model changes by hand so far based on, whims, impulses, ideas. And that works fine maybe when you have one or two agents and pilots and POCs, but we've got dozens in production. We have to get really serious. So here's where Agent Control's agent optimization tool comes in. You can see how we configure this tool. Choose the config harness, the prompt, the tools, the models that you want to optimize. Choose the type of optimization you want to leverage, and then choose your acceptance criteria. Like, are you trying to optimize for speed or accuracy, whatever, and then choose your model budget. And you can see that I ran this for ToggleBank's triage agent, and after a few epochs, I got a wildly better solution. A 50% latency drop, a 50% cost reduction, and great performance in terms of accuracy. The optimizer then is just pushing the winner back as a new config, and you can go right back into offline evals and even a guarded rollout with guardrailed fallbacks from there. There's a lot more I can show you here, but this insights page is the aggregate view of metrics across every config and variation we run. Everything you just saw runs through one control plane and one single pane of glass. One place to manage your agent harnesses, to audit and version control changes to prompts and tools, to release your agents, to protect your customers, and to iteratively improve from real feedback. We are super, super proud of Agent Control, and we believe it's a central piece of the modern software factory stack. Learn more at launchdarkly.com/agentcontrol.